Peace and love. Today's demonstration, Malta and its recently discovered prehistoric temples. And I'm also going to show, this is from a 1920 National Geographic. This article shows the popes of Rome walking down the streets. They're the Knights of Malta and St. John. Malta is but a tiny island, less than 100 square miles in area, with no special beauty of hill or dale, almost without tree or stream. Yet, by the indestructible decree of destiny, it has been called to fill a great role in the history of the world. Situated in the narrowest part of the Mediterranean, it lies in the direct route from Gibraltar to Port Said, or the Dardanelles, midway from Italy to its turbulent colony of Tripoli, and from the French territory of Tunis, which Tunis is the Moors, man, to their watchtower at Corfu at the month of the Adriatic. Since the outbreak of the World War, Malta has resembled the Tower of Babel after the confusion of tongues. In its harbors, transport after transport has been anchored, each crowded with troops of various races: English, Scot, Irish, Welsh, Australian, New Zealand, Moor, Tunisian, Congolese, Egyptian, etc. Here also came as prisoners Austrians, Bulgars, Turks, and Germans, some from the famous Emden, E-M-D-E-N. Malta was indeed a haven of refuge, and all too soon they passed onward, some to find a watery grave, many more to die by murderous poisonous gas, by fierce burning oil, or by more merciful shot and shell. Soon Malta became the island of hospitals where the sick and maimed, the fever-stricken and blind found such rest and comfort as this world can give. Ere long this privilege was denied, as the enemy submarine spared neither hospital nor passengers, ship, woman, nor child. Malta has thus been a halting place of many nations, and one wonders what thought or message it has given to them. A place of the cursed steps was Byron's unpoetic tribute. In each of these descriptive phrases there is much truth, but those who peer below the surface, Malta is one of the treasure houses of the world, where the history of mankind can be read in lasting tables of stone. Untold ages ago, coral insects laid the early foundations of Malta. Tomb of Grand Master Carafa in St. John's Church, Valletta, Malta. This Malta mortuary has its mural decorations more than 2,000 human skulls. These grim relics belonged to the defenders of the island who were killed by the Turks in the 16th century. After Napoleon's departure, a governor was appointed to rule on behalf of the French Republic. Soon afterwards, the British fleet returned and won the Battle of the Nile over the French. Then the Maltese arose against the French garrison, which was blockaded by the British. After a gallant defense lasting 2 years, the garrison finally was forced by famine to surrender. After peace came, Britain proposed to restore the island to the Order of St. John, but these piteous appeals of the Maltese at least prevailed, and Malta became incorporated into the British Empire, a very happy decision for its inhabitants. But that's not true, because we know British and France was colonizing everywhere, man, all of the Muslim dominions. And that's why it says here, man, all of these skulls was from the Moors killing them. You know what I'm saying? But they had the Order of the Christ, or the Order of the Cross. So be it. The Chapel of Bones in Valletta, Malta. Malta not only has ruins in which prehistoric man buried his thousands, as at Hal Safiani, where the remains of 30,000 persons was found, but also such chapels as this, where the bones of the knights of the Middle Ages are preserved. The solid silver gates of St. John's Church, Malta. When Napoleon stopped at the island on his way to Egypt, He expelled the Knights of Malta, confiscating their property and that of the church. These silver gates was hastily painted in the hope that they would escape notice, but in vain. They were subsequently redeemed at a great price. One pillar rises conspicuously above the ruined walls. Near it, on the outside, is an altar erected before a sacred stone, while a small hole pierces the wall to communicate with an inner sanctuary, and through which the priest or priestess possibly consulted the oracle. The top of the tall pillar is hollow and shaped like a grave. Theorists suggest that possibly here infants were sacrificed, or the dead exposed to birds or prey, as is done in the Indian Towers of Silence. The church in Malta ready for its feast day illuminations. Hundreds of electric light bulbs in elaborate design. The Maltese are deeply attached to the Church of Rome, and it is said that in no other community of equal size are the religious edifices so numerous and so beautifully decorated. The first Christian bishop on the island, legend tells us, was Publius, whom Paul converted. And we know Paul converted to the Greek, man, because he was Saul. And even Yahushua called him Saul, and he still continued to go Greek and say he was Paul. So I'm still going over all this article, brothers and sisters. I know that I'm going to have a lot of points that I can go off and reference and find more stuff, so that's what I'm going to do. But I just wanted to give a quick review over what I had. Keep in mind, the last foster home I went to, this magazine has been sitting there since I was a child. And on one of the pages it says more, and on the same page it says beautiful hills and dales, and that's my middle name, Dale. So Dale and Moore was sitting on the same page in a magazine since I was a child at this home. But peace and love.